Hello, everyone, and welcome back. In this episode here, I'm gonna go over some recent headlines here that kind of caught my attention. And the reason this caught my attention in particular is because I'm going global in my Bitcoin trade. One of my markets is Australia. So um, here's the article, and here's the author and the date there, and there's the title. And as I was reading this, I mean, they look like they're gonna somehow try to track Bitcoin through the conversion of fiat currency or fiat currency into Bitcoin. So I this is going to be very interesting. I'm not sure how they're going to do that. Um, they're making the assumption, okay, and let me see where it is. Okay, so here it is. It says here, at some point, a person will be purchasing Bitcoin using Australian dollars, for example, and then, if they are dealing in substances or services, will want to convert those Bitcoins back into the legitimate currency of wherever they are, so they can gain the benefit of them. So, I guess the Australian government is assuming that when someone buys Bitcoin, that they're gonna convert it to U.S. dollars. That's okay, and that's a great. They got a great tracking system if they convert it to um, Aussie dollars. I'm sorry, not U.S. dollars, Aussie dollars. So um, they're making the assumption that anybody who buys Bitcoin would want to convert it back into a fiat currency. Um, yes and no. For people who are trading, if you're trading like a traditional person trades, like on a stock market or a stock exchange or currency exchange, yes, this is 100% true. But if you've seen my episodes, like from Bitcoin Trade '01 to now, you would understand that um, Bitcoin is money. Although it's not backed by any government, it's not legal tender. As long as there are people who voluntarily trade in Bitcoin, you'll never really know who's buying and who's selling Bitcoin because we're gonna probably be using cash, and what we use it for, you won't know unless we report it. Now, I'm a legitimate trader, so I'm gonna report almost everything I do with Bitcoin. I don't have a problem with that. Um, but I don't see how this can be tracked because you're just making the assumption that it's going to be converted back to a fiat currency. Okay. And yes, that's true. They're making the assumption that somewhere something's going to be converted back to fiat currency. Um, but what if you're like me? And if you've seen my episodes, I am literally trading Bitcoins at the exchanges uh, to gain purchasing power, to gain more Bitcoins. I do gain in, US dollar only because I'm shorting Bitcoin so I could buy back in and buy more Bitcoins and have the value go back up. So, um, and if you see my episodes, I've also purchased a lot of things with my Bitcoin. They're not, I haven't purchased my Ferrari, my little Lamborghini or my Ferrari. I think it's Ferrari. I'm not going to be purchasing anything like that. What I am going to be purchasing is like my groceries, food, just everyday consumables. And for someone like me, um, consumables represent about, I would say, uh, 50% of my disposable income. So what does that mean? Does that mean I'm not making a lot? No, it means that my expenses are very low to the point that food represents most of my purchases. because I have to eat. All right, just basic household consumables. That's what I'm doing with my Bitcoin, and that's where I'm spending my Bitcoin where people take Bitcoins, and so I'm buying a lot of these gift cards with my Bitcoin and using that to go shopping. And so if there's any security breach at any of these places where I shop at, well, my identity is pretty much safe, because I don't need to provide my identity when I go buy groceries. I just need to provide the credit. All right, that I traded my debt for credit, and with that credit, I converted it back to another credit as a gift card, prepaid gift card that represents a legal tender value, specifically with that retail outlet. So, but I guess you're right. They have to convert it at some point. But what if you're like me? How would you track that? I'm an investor. Anyways, so this is an interesting article. I'm just looking at it because I'm opening myself up to the Australian market now. I'm opening myself up actually globally, and I'm building business partnerships all over the world, and potentially meeting. There's a good potential for me to meet other miners that actually own mining rigs, and will be able to basically purchase from them, or quote unquote, remember, mine Bitcoins. The fact that you own a Bitcoin makes you automatically an investor. So anyways, I don't know what the Australian government's going to do, but I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go global, because remember what I said, if a corporation is a person, and they can pretty much do all of this with no problem. I mean, they can go to any bank, and the banks will open up with them and no problem. But what if I am a person? Can I do the same thing as a corporation and be global? I think yes. I believe the answer is yes, and I'm doing it. You know. Anyways, so great article. My thoughts is yes, for the people who are money laundering, the people who are terrorists. And if you've seen my previous episodes, you know what a terrorist is. People often think of, well, anyway, under the U.S. Patriot Act and the Bank Secrecy Act, okay, a terrorist has there's a wide definition of terrorist and terrorism, but I think the most important thing we have to consider is that terrorists, okay, they don't always strap on a bomb to their chest or whatever, or to a vest, and wear the vest and detonate it. Okay, terrorist comes in many forms, and under the U.S. Patriot Act, they specifically mention cyber terrorist. Okay, and I think they should actually amend that Patriot Act and put in something like a financial terrorist as well, because they exist, they're real. If you don't think they're real, then you just go back to sleep, because they're out there, and their goal is one. They only have one goal, and that's to destabilize a country financially. So I think if anything, they kind of left. I guess the money laundering would be the. Well, I don't think that's really the financial terrorist. I mean, you'll see what I'm saying when you start trading in Bitcoin. There are cyber terrorists who are also a subcategory of a basically there's terrorists in general. Underneath that would be a subcategory of cyber terrorist, and then cyber terrorist. There is a subcategory underneath that as well, financial terrorist, and they're out there. They're real. If you don't think there are, I mean, go ahead and trade your bitcoins, and you'll probably run into a few financial terrorists out there. So, anyways, people who want money are money launderers and probably terrorists, what you could say criminals as well. Those are the people that want money. Everyone else who are legitimately trading Bitcoin because they know what Bitcoin is, they know how it works. If they're like me, they never really plan on seeing paper money ever again. If I do, it's only because I have to convert it to a legal tender to make a legal purchase. Other than that, I mean, if two parties agree on on a transaction, then that's just as, I think, valid with some some written, I wouldn't say even written proof. The fact that you transacted, that you exchanged, in it of itself, I think is proof enough that you've made a trade. So what I would, well, I'll save that for another episode, but I just want to bring that up. This is a great article. Australia is a market that I'm getting into, and so people who the people of Australia just has to figure out what the hell they're going to do with Bitcoin and how they're going to report it for tax, and this is not my problem. This is an Australian problem. So you guys figure that out, and I'll just deal with it. So anyways, I want to bring that up there, and then another article here, which by the way, let me show you something real quick here. This is the Mt. Gox, and let me get down here so you can see a little better. So you can see Mt. Gox, and you see the price moving up on the rumor, right? And I made some other lines that kind of worked out really good, because I want to see where the breakout really started to happen, where it's going above, and where it's going to come back down. I knew this was going to come back down, but the question is, where was it going to come back down? And looks like it's chosen to follow back on this line, but it's not coming below it. It's actually staying above the resistance. So this used to be the resistance, and now it's acting as a support. Now we got to figure out if this is real or fake. So I guess you can take a chance right here. Of course, by the time you see this, who knows? But I might take another chance right here. It wouldn't hurt, because it's gone back down. I know it's broken. It looks like it's broken out, come back, but it may be just coming back because it just, it just needs that little momentary time, and then it could possibly break out again. We're gonna have to see how the new high and the new low. So anyways, the reason I brought that up was because obviously this was the rumor that the withdrawals are going to happen, and then this thing coming down is the news of this, I believe. Mt. Gox resigns from Bitcoin Foundation. So there you go. So there's some more news around here. Look at that. So Mr. Mark Karpeles, I don't know how to say his name. I guess he's resigning from the foundation. So is that good news or bad news? I don't know. I don't know. Probably in general bad news. Because who else resigned from the foundation? Yep, Mr. Shrem. Mr. Shem or something. Well, actually, does it say it right here somewhere? There you go. So basically, who else resigned from the foundation? Mr. Shrem. So in general, is that bad? Well, I know that might be bad for Mt. Gox, and will they survive? Will they start letting withdrawals to continue? I don't know. I don't know. Um, at this point, it's like anybody's game here. Who knows what's really going on? But that's the news over there. And then let's go to Bitcoin CoinDesk here, where I get some news here. And looks like a little bit China. China's lowering their fees, trying to pick up some action. Which I also am opening up into that market as well. So as far as I know, the financial institutions cannot engage in Bitcoin trading, but people supposedly at their own risk may engage in Bitcoin trading. So trying to open up a market over there. Let's see what happens. And then there's more than that news of Mt. Gox. So how's that? Is that going to affect anything? I'm not sure. But price action. The price action, it doesn't seem to be that bad for some reason. You think it'd be a really bad news, it would start really diving further down to almost nothing. But you know, the fact that it swung up to 300 and then swinging back down to 150, then that's just Mt. Gox, you know. So, anyways, if it goes down, I mean, I got, you know, for $300, I can get, if it goes down any further, if it goes down to $10, for $300, I can get where depending where my stops are, but I figured if it goes down to $10, I placed it in basically in certain areas where it only cost me about $350 to get 5 Bitcoins. Considering that this is the price of Bitcoins right now, you know, for $350 to get 5 Bitcoins, that's not a bad deal if Mt. Gox can survive. So let's see. I've been surviving. I've been trading. I've been making selective buys here because, you know, in the end, if they go, like I've been saying, if they go bankrupt or if they go out, I mean, you probably won't see your money anyway. But if they survive, I'm going to come out with a lot more Bitcoin, more than I ever had at this exchange. I can tell you that much. So it's worth the risk. It's worth a shot. Anybody out there that has a Mt. Gox account and they want to liquidate their holdings, yeah, contact me. I'll take a chance on it. You're not gonna get you're definitely not gonna get this price, but I'll give you a price. So, anyways, just want to bring that up real quick, and let's take a look at, let's do some chart analysis here. Okay. So I did make 2 lines here, the top, and then something that I couldn't figure out why it stopped right here for this particular. This is Bitstamp. So I'm figuring a lot of traders were looking at this line for the breakout and the support. So the way it's moving, it kind of makes sense. So that's what I'm doing. And then I'm using this as a support, because if it breaks through this, there's a good chance you're going to see more downward pressure. And then this is an interesting phenomenon, but this is BitC, and currently BitC is higher than Bitstamp. Usually that's an indication of downward pressure, considering Mt. Gox is at this price. So that's kind of what's going on right now, but we'll see. But here's the chart for BitC, and again, the top line resistance, breaking out of it. And then I didn't know, this didn't, well, at the time I figured, well, maybe a lot of traders are looking at this as a resistance, because you see the line kind of just turning, right? You see the line kind of turning, and it'd be nice if it actually turned that slow, but it doesn't. Once it turns like this, if it pushes upwards, it's usually a dramatic breakout. So it'd be kind of nice if it just slowly turned, and then we could all, gain in on the momentum. But in reality, what's going to happen is that as it slowly turns, it just quickly breaks out, and then basically you missed it. So watch out for this. And the way this thing is bouncing, this looks like a lot of people are using these two lines to make their trades. Looks like it anyway. Of course, remember, the thing about lines is this all makes sense because I put the lines there. Alright? It all makes sense because I put the lines there. I've told you that before. So don't trust what I say. Make a trade. Alright? Just go ahead and make a trade. And I think I talked about the episode of paralysis by analysis. If you got too much to look at, you'll never make a trade. So last but not least, let's look at Mt. Gox and different two sets of lines, but they seem to work with this current price action movement. So the top line, and then I took the other two line here, disconnect and this connection, and they seem to coincide. So I think a lot of people who are trading, or maybe the bots, I'm not sure, are using this as a channel. You could probably even put a line right here somewhere, and then you could follow that channel, and it's breaking out here, but how much it's going to break out, I don't know. And it's at this point you are literally taking a risk. Well, if you have an account at Mt. Gox, you're already at risk. So I guess at some point you just realize, well, whatever trade I make, can't be any more riskier than nothing, right? So there you go. Anyways, thanks for watching, and feel free to like, dislike, comment, or even leave a video response. Until next time, stay tuned. Bye.